I'd like you to meet my mom. Her name's Marion. She's 86 years old. Except for 3 years, she's lived in the same house, the same farmhouse on the family farm for her entire life. Mom has been a little lonely now since Dad died 3 years ago. But she still stays active. She gets a lot of visitors. She's got her 7 kids and her grandchildren and grandchildren stop by. She hasn't exactly hit the rocking chair on the front porch yet. She cooks, she cleans, she gardens, she drives, she walks every day. She went to the Boundary Waters for the first time when she was 70, and she's been back several times since. She takes Meals on Wheels to those old people at church. Watching her stay active as she gets older is only one of the many lessons that I've learned from Mom. Today, I'll talk about just 3 of those lessons. I'll go so far as to say that if everybody in the world learned these 3 lessons from my mom, the world would be a much better place. The 3 lessons that Mom taught to me and my siblings are: work hard and take responsibility. 2, love others through service. And 3, just be nice. I remember my first lesson on personal responsibility. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was engaging in the ruckus that was known as breakfast in the household full of brothers. And I was standing in the kitchen, waving my arms around because my toast is getting cold and the butter isn't going to melt. And Mom was paying attention to somebody else. Worst problem ever. Well, Mom had the appropriate response. Stop waving your arms around and butter your own toast. Well, I've been faced with a few obstacles since, and that same advice has proven good guidance all the way through. Wouldn't it be better if more people just stopped complaining about when somebody else is getting more attention and buttered their own toast? Mom took her own advice. She raised all of our vegetables in a 1-acre garden. She made breakfast juice from our homegrown grapes and our rhubarb plants. Every year she dressed and cut up about 200 chickens after the kids plucked them for her. And when farming didn't pay all the bills, Mom got a job in town doing water tests for the county. And she did that for over 20 years. Don't complain and butter your own toast. Second lesson is service to others. Mom is happiest when she's doing something for somebody else. When I was 4 or 5, I wanted to go fishing down at the creek, and Dad was busy farming. So Mom took me instead. Now I know she had tons of other things that she would rather be doing, but I'll never forget that day. And when my own boys were small, I almost always took them fishing or played with them when they asked, because I remember how much it meant to me when Mom took that time to spend with me. It wasn't just me, of course. Mom had 7 kids to take care of. She hauled lunches out to the field, drove us to swimming lessons, to music lessons, and to hundreds of other appointments. She worked in the garden and did endless laundry and cooking. She could put together a meat and potatoes meal and make it so easy, look so easy, with dessert. She always made a special Sunday dinner after church. She never asked anybody else to help clean up. She patiently listened to our problems, and on cold, wet days, she'd give us rides to and from the bus. She attended hundreds of 4-H meetings, high school wrestling matches, and band and choir concerts. We've grown up now, but Mom has grandchildren and great-grandchildren to take care of. One of my nephews has cerebral palsy, and his brother has Down syndrome. They spend a lot of time with Grandma, and she patiently plays cards and games with them for hours and hours and hours every week. Mom demonstrates the impact of patience, generosity, and unselfishness on both the receiver and the giver. The third lesson is just be nice. Now, no offense to all of your own mothers or to all of the ladies that are present, but my mom is the nicest lady in the world. Not the fake nice of Minnesota nice, but the real nice of Minnesota nice. She just doesn't think badly about anybody. And I don't think I've ever seen her in a bad mood that I didn't cause. I made her cry at least once, and I still feel bad. I was about 4 or 5, and it occurred to me now that all these stories come when I was 4 or 5. I must have been a really rotten kid when I was 4 or 5. Mom was probably glad to see me start school. On this occasion of being a rotten kid, Mom had been at church circle or some church function, and she brought home a cake decoration made of frosting. It was a dark red rose, intricately formed, beautiful, too pretty to eat, which is why she had brought it home. I thought it looked delicious. So I crawled up on the shelf and I got it down and I ate it. And it didn't taste as good as I thought it would, and I was disappointed. And then Mom saw what I had done. And she asked me how I could be so mean as to take her nice things. And she cried. And I felt bad. And I saw that my selfishness could hurt other people's feelings, and I didn't like hurting other people's feelings. Finally, here's a quote from my mom that my brothers and I heard a lot. Stop that. Somebody's going to get hurt. Tell you what, we could use my mom to intervene in every online discussion or comment section on the internet. Maybe we could make her Sergeant of Arms at Congress or etiquette master in Washington, D.C. or something like that. She'd certainly be useful at all the protests and counter-protests that we have these days. All with a simple message. Stop that. Somebody's going to get hurt. Shame on you. Just be nice. Mom is still independent, and she's still as nice as ever. She's still just as giving. But these days, she might also be likely to give her Social Security number to that nice person on the phone. She's becoming forgetful. She has a hard time remembering what she did yesterday, or this morning, or 5 minutes ago. She still remembers people. I was talking to her recently about a trip that she and Dad took out to the Black Hills of South Dakota a few years back. And as we're talking, she said, I really like Yellowstone. And I reminded her that they had gone to the Black Hills and not made it all the way to Yellowstone. She said, really? And she's, in her typical happy, optimistic fashion, she said, oh, well, I don't remember what we did anyway, so I'll just choose to think that we did go to Yellowstone, and it was a lot of fun. Mom, you may not remember some things, but your kids sure remember the lessons we learned from you. Love you, Mom. Thank you.